Ahoy hoy. It's Chris again. Bringing you another reaction. I'd have my little co-host with me, but it's past his bedtime. So, just me with another Laughingstock Media reaction. This time, Mike and his co-host Qaaman from Qaaman's Land are discussing what roles the supporting characters from the Dragonball storyline will have in the continuing Dragon Ball Super. So it's like a prediction sort of thing, I guess. But it's something I've been curious about because pretty much ever since Frieza, everyone else was made to be able to be swept by the wayside. They were all just, it entered the realm of overpower. The way Frieza became so strong, no one could keep up. And everyone had to just keep leaping through different power levels, and then it was Cell, and then it was Boo. It was just so much that, Yamcha, Chiaotzu, even Tien, they just couldn't keep up. And now we're at a place where Piccolo even is, he's got the experience, he knows what to do, it's just that he's nothing compared to people like Goku and Vegeta. But I'm very interested to see what their take on this is and their predictions are. So, without further ado, let's react.
Hey guys, it's Mike here, and welcome to another video that I'm going to be bringing you today on Dragon Ball Super. In this video, myself and my guest, who I'm going to introduce shortly, are going to be talking about whether or not other characters in the series are going to be shown prominently in the series other than Goku. And what I mean by this is basically, are other characters going to be featured in a way that they are going to be interchangeable with Goku, say as a main character, or as somebody who could also get a kill on like a main villain, things along those lines. So before we begin, allow me to introduce my very special guest, and his name is...
Alrighty guys, it is Qaaman here today.
Yeah, so basically what I mean by this, when I pose this question is, will characters other than Goku be able to, say, fight the main villains on even par? Or will they be able to be able to surpass Goku and Vegeta at different points? We already know that Vegeta, for example, is a character who is, on par with Goku right now, maybe even stronger depending upon, your point of view. So it seems like Vegeta might be one of those characters who will be on even par, but there's even other characters who might be implied in the manga, and maybe going forward in the series would be able to do this as well. So, Qaaman, what do you think about that?
Well, first things first is that, obviously we've been told about, the characters that are going to be chosen for that upcoming arc after reading this newest Super chapter. And obviously Piccolo and Majin Buu would have to get a significant power increase. And my guess, now that I'm watching, the Super episodes, we've both agreed, Mike, off the year that the Cloudy Dimension, I'm just calling it an unofficial name, the Cloudy Dimension would probably be the way to which Piccolo would be able to get that strong alongside of Majin Buu. So I think that in terms of power, I don't think any character is going to come close to Goku or Vegeta, but the Cloudy Dimension could give Majin Buu and Piccolo at least somewhat, I guess you would say, of a scaling, reduction of the gap difference between their power. And I guess you could also say that for the other characters like Goten, Trunks, Gohan, all of them, I can't see it anything. And also, Mike, you were talking about getting a kill against a major villain. Since we don't really know which arcs are coming up, there's a versus Champa fight, but it doesn't seem like they're fighting to the death. And we already kind of have a general idea of what's going to happen in the Resurrection F arc. So I really can't see any characters, outside of Goku, Vegeta really making a big difference, which brings me back into my original consensus that Dragon Ball Super is kind of going along the lines of Digimon Season 3, in which the humans were turning into the Digimon, and Takuya and Koji were so much stronger than everybody else at some point that the others were kind of irrelevant.
I don't know, because I feel like the fact that Piccolo and Buu if Boo actually gets joined, because there is a theory right now that Boo will be able to fail the test that will allow him to actually participate in the tournament in the first place, so it might end up just being Gohan, and it'll be like a funny twist. But I feel like if Piccolo and Boo are going to be on that team, and likely are going to be training under Beerus or Whis, that it might be a way for Toriyama and or Toei to actually make his character stronger, so that he can in fact, be on par with the other characters. And I feel like that's the direction that they really need to move in the future. I feel like essentially Goten, Trunks, Gohan, all these characters need to be made to be basically on even par with Goku and Vegeta. I mean, just having those two characters being so strong above everyone else would really diminish the show, in my opinion, because first off, Goku's already basically played out as the main character. Like, we've seen it enough, we've seen it for 30 years, we need to move on and have other characters interchangeable with him. Like, there was a period of time during the Cell Saga when Piccolo was stronger than the Super Saiyans, when Goku and Vegeta were, like, going back and forth in terms of power. All these characters were, like, around each other's power level, and that was a great period of time because, like, there was an air of tension and mystery as to who actually would be the most powerful. And, like, this actually happened, too, in the Frieza Saga, so, like, Goku would surpass Vegeta would surpass him, Piccolo would show up and then surpass all of them and fight second form Frieza. And that really gets, a lot of stuff that happens with the show and makes it a lot more interesting because it's not just Goku saves the day all the time. It's not, Goku is John Cena. It's more than that, and it makes it a lot more interesting. So I feel like there is a large possibility that Goku, will not be the only main focus and other characters will be featured more prominently.
I agree, definitely, but I'm just saying if they're featured in what way, and that's the only reason why I didn't think so, Mike. The reason I didn't think so is because it's possible, but I just don't see how, because unless they get a huge power gap, and unfortunately, Mike, we've talked about this before, one thing that Dragon Ball has significantly over Z and GT and Super is the fact that in terms of power was not as relevant. Like, other characters had, like, their focus in the series, like Baba or Bulma or all these other characters, because they had something they can contribute, I mean, Bulma can always create new gadgets to, add something to the story, but, like, in Z, it's kind of like, well, most of the machines that we need are kind of already there. What do we basically need? Well, you just need to be stronger than the other person. Well, basically gets shunned out, and it brings me back to what I was saying earlier, where Dragon Ball was all about the Z fighters, Z was all about the Saiyans and Piccolo up to a certain point, and then GT was basically all about Goku and to some degree Vegeta, only because of the fact that he was technically a villain because he had his body taken over and then he was a Super Saiyan 4. So I look at it like, if the other Z fighters are gonna have a role, what could they do? Like, could they be a supporting cast like what we're seeing in Dragon Ball Super
and
right
bring the
now,
Senzu
where, like, they're
beans.
fighting against Frieza's henchmen? Or could they be relevant against god-like villains? I mean, because honestly, like, let's count out Majin Buu, because he is a very annoying character, in my opinion. I think that if you look at a character like, Goku and Vegeta and Piccolo, it's like, well, they're Saiyans and Namekians, so they have something unique about them, but would you really want to see Goten, and I know you're a big fan of Goten and Trunks, would you really want to see Goten, Trunks, and Gohan all come together? Because in reality, I mean, it's like, well, what do they have different from each other? Just different powers?
Well, I mean, the thing is that they could be, like, that's the thing, these characters are, like, Goten, Trunks, like, we only saw them for an arc. I mean, we saw the other characters for the entire series. Goten and Trunks haven't really been developed when you think about it. Like, what's their characters? They're kids, and they're Saiyans, and they have a lot of power. That's it. Like, they can be developed. They can use Dragon Ball Super to develop all these characters in interesting ways with their own interesting techniques. I mean, Goten and Trunks confuse into Gotenks. So, I feel like, basically, like, I wouldn't mind as long as they change up the dynamic. And that's one of the things that Dragon Ball needs right now. They really need to change up the dynamic. Look at Yu Yu Hakusho. Look at all these characters who are developed. Some, in some cases, even more than the main character. Look at all these things that are.
Okay, we got an ad here. I'm gonna get this thing skipped over, but I gotta say, I agree with them that the dynamic needs to be changed, but
happening and transpiring. There's no reason why Dragon Ball cannot be the same. There's no reason why they cannot change things up again. I think that if Piccolo trains with Whis and like learns to keep his ki inside his body, he already fused with God. Like there's no reason why he can't have God ki and utilize it that way. Vegeta trained and became a god. Like why can't Piccolo? Why can't Gohan? Why can't Goten Trunks? Why can't Buu? Buu absorbed the Dai Kaioshin. Like why are there limitations on these other characters? I think that what they should really do is remove these limitations. So in fact these characters could actually be crucial and they could actually have episodes developed to these characters. They could have, for all we know, Goku gets his ass knocked out in the first round of the tournament, and then it could be Vegeta, Piccolo, or someone else who defeats the main villain. We don't know. Like, that's the thing that I really want to happen and to be brought back to the series. Not necessarily Goku just taking the fall all the time, but the thing is, like, we want, like, an air of we don't know what's gonna happen. It could be anyone who could beat the main villain, or it could be anyone who could actually be the top guy. And, like, well, that's quality writing that needs to come to Dragon Ball and really has existed in the past in different forms, but in Super, really, I think they need to change the dynamic and go in that direction.
I want to see Goten and Trunks get some guitars.
Asking you a question, Mike, even though it's your own video. I wanted to ask you, Mike, do you think, because I was watching Hilzion's review, do you think this cloudy dimension is kind of a cheap way to just force people to get strong in a short amount of time, that they're kind of just rehashing what the hyperbolic time chamber did? Or do you think it could be expanded a lot more than what we are generally thinking?
I mean, it's very possible. We just don't really know anything about it, to be honest. Like, from what we've seen thus far, it would appear that this dimension is kind of something along the lines of, something that's getting these characters to learn how to control their ki even more, but it could be something like maybe it's a different time dimension similar to the hyperbolic time chamber or the room of time and spirit. For all we know, a million years passes there in 1 year, you know what I mean? So for all we know, Goku and Vegeta will train there for months and months and months, and like an hour has passed in the real world. Like, we really don't know, and it'd be really interesting if they do that. Now, you could say it's a cheap way, but the same thing can apply to the hyperbolic time chamber, and nobody complained about that when it was introduced in the series. Like, it's a really interesting dynamic. Seeing all these other dimensions implemented, it'd be really cool. So just throw the Z Fighters in there. Instant power-up. I don't care. I don't really care how cheap the power-ups are, as long as these characters have, kind of prominence again. We actually get to develop them and actually get to see them be useful again. Because, like, would you rather
Goku
have
and Trunks get
characters
some
that are just
guitars.
furniture, like in the background? Oh, look,
Goku
they're
and
there.
Vegeta get
Or
some
do you rather
guitars.
have, or do you rather actually have them used in a good, positive way? That's my question.
Fusion.
I agree with you, Mike, and I'll just, I don't want to rehash your video too much, but all I'm saying is, and I'm sure we've agreed with this, I just think that we're probably never going to get back to what Dragon Ball was, in the sense that you didn't have to be a fighter to be an integral part of the story. For example, I'll just say this really quick. When Goku first transformed into a Great Ape in the first arc, against Emperor Pilaf and his gang, Poor, helped cut off his tail. Even though Poor is not a main fighter, Poor actually had a big role in helping cutting off Goku's tail. You know what I mean? And it's things like that. I think that when you look at characters who, can have a role, such as that, I think that's what made Dragon Ball so fun. You didn't have to be a fighter, and I think the show has naturally progressed to, if you ain't strong, well, what can you be? And, that's why I like that they brought Master Roshi back for the Resurrection F arc. That was fun, even if he's not strong,
Even if it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but it was so fun to see Roshi getting up some action, and I'm sure Harold definitely, he was impressed of seeing Roshi, back in action, right?
Absolutely. I mean, he might even say something after this video is over, talking about how awesome he thought Master Roshi and Resurrection F was, so you need to stick around for that. But overall, I definitely agree with what you're saying, and I really hope that they do try and get back in that direction. The manga, it seems like they kind of are, with introducing, a new character who seems to have all this knowledge of the universe. It'll be interesting to see how they expand that. But, we don't really know what's going to happen, but I kind of hope that it does move in that direction that I was hoping for, where other characters are actually prominent and useful again. So this has been another video that we're bringing you today on Dragon Ball Super, which we're asking the question, will other characters than Goku be used prominently in Dragon Ball Super? Tell us your own thoughts down below. What do you think? Do you agree with us or do you disagree? What characters would you actually like to see be prominently used? And which characters are your favorite characters in the series in general? And of course, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Check out Qaaman's channel, and don't forget, as I always say, stick around, because there's a lot more to come in the future.
And please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. And remember, as I always say, to have a great day, guys, and I hope you guys enjoy what Harold has to say.
I love Harold. I can't wait for this. Oh my god! Don't forget to subscribe.
Yeah, we all know that muscular Master Roshi was his big biceps, triceps, and abdominals with that big staff on his arm, which probably weighs more than a neutron star, would kick all those guys' asses. He was holding back his entire series. We all know he's stronger than the Katen Ginyu, than the Freeze, and all those other villains, but he didn't feel like popping up to fight them because the CrossFit cardio gains with the small little biceps, the triceps, and all the other muscles I had just mentioned before. Why are you still listening to me? What the hell is the point of me talking about this? Master Roshi is muscular, the most muscular old man of all time. Maybe I'll do a video on him someday. Wink, wink. See you later. Bye. And you better subscribe.
You better subscribe. No, I totally agree. Like I said, Dragon Ball got way too OP, and it just... It's not fair to limit your viewers to rooting for one of two characters on a cast of dozens. It's not fair. Everyone's going to have a different favorite for a different reason. And while some characters are going to be more powerful than other characters in certain ways, whatever, you can't just say, okay guys, Goku or Vegeta, which one do you like? I hate to be the sellout, but I've always been a Tien fan. Always. Tien is the most badass human there is. Fuck Krillin. Tien is the most badass human ever. No Dragon Ball wishes necessary. Except for the one that brought him back to life. Or the two that brought him back to life. Whatever. Anyways. How did he survive the Kill All Humans attack? Tien's badass. In the comments below, tell me who you thought was your favorite, the best Dragon Ball, all series, all arcs, whatever, character, hero, villain, whatever. Who should have gotten more lasting screen time? Who should still be relevant? You let me know, and I will pass on your words to Mike. Like, comment, share, and subscribe.